Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today is going to be an exciting day full of seed saving, planting some perennials. I'll do an update on the lawn, the cover crops and the new beds that we made, and I just wanted to show off. We have sunflowers that are still blooming that I just planted in my sea of marigolds, all that fun stuff. So we'll go ahead and get started with a little bit of a tour, and then I'll show you what kind of seeds we'll be saving for next year's gardens. So if you remember from last time in the overshots, I have all these bare spots in the grass. Well, I finally have grass seed coming in. It's so tiny, but at least I know that there's life and this will all be filled in. Yahoo! So over here is where we have our new bed that we just put in. Actually today I'm going to be putting in some marigolds. I took some cuttings and remember we're going to put some back here and we'll see where else we want to put them. But the pansies are all doing very well. All the geraniums I put in are holding their own. Probably won't last but a few more days. Everything's kind of getting to its last leg. We have a chance of frost for the next 2 nights. So this might be the last time I get to show off the garden. But over here, these are some really great different varieties of sunflowers I planted like 60 days ago. So I'm really pushing it to the edge here with their planting. Got some status poking up. And then over here were the new beds by the greenhouse. So I did go ahead and throw in just some oats and peas as a cover crop, and it is all coming up just fine. It should survive the frost and go a little bit after that. Then the pansies on either side of the greenhouse are still kicking and doing very well. And then this side. This side, for whatever reason, is not growing as well as the other one, but it's still doing just fine. Everything in the flower beds here is still kind of, you know, not anything too exciting. I do have some radishes. So maybe I'll put one of those in a salad later. That's always good to have something in the ground versus nothing at all. So first thing we're going to do before we get into seed collecting is perennial planting. So I have some sedum that I really enjoyed cutting off of this year. So I figured I'm going to just expand it and have this all be some sedum. And then back here I have some yarrow. All of this was at the garden center for super duper cheap. So I bought a couple of them. It should come back next year. And I'll get these planted in just in time for harvesting flowers for next summer. And then cannas. This is something that we'll be taking seeds off of next. So let's get all these in the ground. All right, so this one here is the original that one of my coworkers gave me, which was super nice, and I loved it so much. I want more. So let's get planting. Instead of using a shovel or a trowel or something like that, I found this claw thingamajigger does a very good job at breaking up the ground. That way when I go to refill the dirt over it, it is already kind of broken up. So keep forgetting how many rocks I actually have in this crazy place. Easy peasy. I'll get the rest done and then I'll get them all watered in. Okay, I've got all my perennials put in, so all the yarrow are back here, and they'll be pretty for next year. Maybe not so much right now, but that's okay. I actually had more sedum than I thought I needed, so I threw 2 over here, and then the other 4 over here. So I've got a total of 5 over in the garage bed. let's move on to our marigolds. Okay, before we plant the marigolds out, I just have to show them off a little bit because this has only been about a week of rooting. So here's my little canopy of green. Look at all the roots. So we'll take them out and look at a couple. So this is just one cutting, and I've been picking off the little flower heads as I find them. Just little blooms, because that gives more energy into the root production. Once they're in there, it doesn't really matter as much. So lots and lots of marigolds to plant, so let's go get them in the dirt. Okay, so I'm here at the spot where I want to put all my new marigolds in. So, woo! Okay, I'm just going to take a cutting, and I'm going to peel the dirt back. Let's do it in a spot where you can see. Peel it back a little bit, stick it down, cover it up. That's all I'm doing. And then this should all fill in to be nice big bush-like marigolds like their parents. I will water this in, and it should be here in just a few days. They should water, or they should root in just by themselves. Hopefully we'll have some blooms soon. So they're all planted in. I have just a little row of them here, and then along the fence back here, just a couple more. So time to get these watered in, and let's go get some seeds. All right, so the first seed we're going to collect here is the purple hyacinth bean vine. You'll see they get these really pretty purple pods on them, but you want to wait until they actually dry out a little bit. So down here we have some that are brown. So you can just take the pod off, and then inside you're looking for black seeds like this. They're really neat because they've got that nice little white stripe on them too. See if it'll focus. Anyways, each pod contains 2 to 6 seeds from what I found. This one happens to have 4. So you know they're ready when they're black like that. I'm just going to put them in a Ziploc baggie. Another thing you can do to save a little bit of time, you can just take the entire pod and put it in the bag, and then you can get a bunch of them in that way. You can either plant the entire pod out the next year, just as they are, or you can break them up over winter when you want to do something with the plants, which is what I normally do. Let's look at one in the purple one, just so you can see one that is not quite ready yet. It's really rubbery and hard to get open before they're actually dried out. Here it goes. So this is an unripened one. They're still a little black, but you can tell they're really soft. When you touch them, you can actually break them open. And this one's actually almost like the purple color itself. So these ones, although they're pretty, they're not ready for planting. They need to stay and dry on the plant before you can pick them up. All right, big lima beans. Okay, got my bag started. Let's go to our next one. The next plant that we are saving seeds for next year is the Canna Lily. This was one I started growing from seed 2 years ago, and it takes a little bit of practice to get it right, and some techniques called scarification, where you take the outer shell of the seed and you nick it either with sandpaper or pliers, or some people use like fingernail clippers, and that allows the water to get in. But anyways, I'll be doing a video this probably February when it's time to get them, because it does take a long time to grow them from seed, to show you that process. But what you are looking for when taking seeds from the Canna Lily plant. So you'll see a couple different stages. So this one here, I'll get into a close-up in a second, but this is still green. You want to wait until they're completely brown. Sometimes it's helpful to use a pair of snips, because when you touch them, sometimes they explode and you lose your seeds. But you can see on this one how it's already starting to open up a little bit, and that's when the seeds start to drop. If you just open it up, they should be really hard black seeds that are left down in there, just like that. And that is where they're ready to harvest. Just like with the purple hyacinth bean vine, you can easily just snip them all right into the bag and then collect them and play with them later. So I'll do that on a couple of these, and I'll show you a close-up of what you look for and what you do not want. So you can see here, after, this is so pretty, this is a salmon color one. After they bloom, they turn into this, which this is the beginning of a seed head. You can clean them up a little bit if you want. It doesn't Doesn't matter, the pollination has already happened. Once they sit on the plant for a little while, then they turn into this. This is where you're looking, and I'll just crack one open. That's a seed right there. That's what you can plant for next year. And a lot of times you can see they're cracking open when they're ready. So you can just peek in there and you can see, oh, there's a seed for next year. And you'll see this one is just loaded with them. Do I need to harvest them all? Absolutely not. Am I going to? You betcha, because I cannot stop. Got a new one coming in. Remember, it's supposed to frost here the next 2 nights, so once these get mushy, I've talked about the machete, it will come out, and I'll tear these down. So I just want to get everything harvested that I can for now. And then the next variety, I'm going to label my bags. This one's more of a red instead of a salmon color bloom. And then this one's just loaded with tons of seeds all over, ready to be harvested. So I'll go ahead and do that next, and we'll move on to our next specimen. I'm way up here on the hill, and the next one we're going to harvest seeds from is this beautiful pink hibiscus, and this is a hardy perennial style hibiscus. I'm really proud of this one because I grew this from seed in the winter seed sowing video that I did. So it's really cool to get some of those seeds back for the next generation of them, even though this one should come back for next year. So you'll see all these buds and blooms. You know, you've got some new ones coming on. And what we're looking for is hiding down here. Now, I'll cut one off and bring it up closer so you can see it. This is the seed head. And if you look down in and see that it's already opened up. So some of them have fallen out, but they just fall right out into your hands. And there's like, oh my gosh, there's a ton of seeds in here. I'm just doing a little squeezy squeeze. I still didn't get all of them. It reminds me of like a Baptisia seed if you've seen any of those. So, okay, there's like, let's see if I can get the camera on. There's like 30 seeds in here at least. So that's a lot of plants, and there's like 5 of these seed heads. So plenty of seeds for next year. I'm going to take, like I did with a lot of the canna, and just take the seed head, throw it in. And I will probably do some winter seed sowing on these for this coming year. And who knows, like I need more plants, right? Okay, did I miss any? Anybody else coming along? And I think that's all that's on here. Now you'll notice there are a lot of, I'll cut one of these off, a lot of mature and ripened flower heads, but there are no seeds to it. And that, I think, is because these flowers only last for about a day. So for the pollinators to get down into it is really challenging. So not every flower is going to get pollinated and turn into a seed head. Then I'll just back up so you can see like the full plant and what that looks like. You can tell it's starting to get a little bit past its prime. So, okay, I've got quite a few seeds already. And I think the next thing is going to be getting some Celosia seeds for next year. I will probably do these seeds in like a mixture of some sort when I actually plant them out, because I don't want to mix all the varieties for how I have my crazy plan for next year. So I've ordered some Celosia seeds in the varieties that I really want, and this will just be like a grab bag. So let's go harvest some of those. Okay, so the last seed we're going to be collecting is Celosia. So I have some of these taller varieties, and I forget what they're called, but I'll be cutting those off and showing you, because once you cut them, they're a little delicate. And then I just have the regular plume style Celosia. You can see where this one's like really dried out and ready to go. But then if you get really close up on some of the other ones, like even this orange one here, where it's still got some stuff growing. Actually, inside of here, there are some black seeds ready to be harvested. And you'll notice as they start to die off, you'll get little brown spots, and that's where the seeds are ready to be harvested. So I'll probably just be picking off some of the ones that I know, like the seeds are falling if you touch it. So I will take that and give you a close-up of what that looks like. So I'm back here in a non-windy place in the greenhouse, my happy place, and I wanted to show you, this is, the name I couldn't remember is Flamingo Feather, which is really cool Celosia. It really makes a great cut flower, really good dried flower, and it's kind of like papery, you can hear. So cool, but when you first get it picked off the plant, it's like this, and you can kind of see all that black in there? Those are the seeds, and there's a ton of them. So if you just scrape, let's see, I don't want to get them all over the greenhouse and have a bunch of Celosia sprouts, but if you take and scrape with your thumb, like they're falling, maybe you can see in the light, like they're falling out. They're really tiny little black seeds. And there you can see where I've scraped some of them, maybe. Right in there. But I'm going to turn it upside down. So hopefully you can catch some of this, but I'm just going to go back and forth and scraping, and everything that's fallen in there, all the little black bits, tons of seeds. And now you can see they're all coming out to the surface when you do that. So, going to have a lot of Celosia seeds everywhere for next year. Oh, that's cool. You can do it like that. You can see them even better. I don't know why it's not focusing, but so that's not the final seed that I am going to be harvesting. One of them has been drying for a little while. That's the sunflower. Super easy seed to collect as long as you can beat the birds. I'm going to move over here so maybe the sun isn't as bad. Much better. Bag o Celosia. Okay, up here on the top of the greenhouse is where I have the sunflowers drying out so that they'll be good for harvest. The reason I do that, I cut them down because you'll see one of them, the birds love them. If you don't get them in time, you share them with the birds, which is totally fine, but I want some for me. So just right up here on the top shelf, that's where I have them all drying, ready to go. This was the one in question where you can see half of them have gotten, well, maybe a third, I don't know, have gotten hit by the birds. The rest of them, though, have dried. They're so lightweight. Have dried like this, and they are ready to go. So I don't have to take them off of there anytime soon. See how something's gotten to this one already before I had harvested it out. But now they're ready to just pluck right out. You got to see. For an entire new sunflower with this many more seeds. So I'm in the wrong business. I like doing this. I should do seed selling more than I do. I do sell seeds, so if anybody wants to check them out and grow along with me, I have an Etsy shop, so etsy.com/theplantkai. I do have Canna Lillies that I've harvested already from last year, the purple hyacinth bean vines, some of the Baptisia, and when we do our cold winter sowing in the milk jugs, which I loved doing that, and now I have more space to do it, and that's actually set up, you can plant along with me, so go check it out. But anywho, that's the end of the seed collecting. I don't have any other real updates to share right now, as we'll see here in the next couple days. If we get our first actual frost, you know, a lot of things will still be okay, because it looks like it'll be a light frost, but when we get the actual frost that ends the season, that's when it's cleanup mode. So it's time to get the banana trees chopped down, the canna lilies chopped down, tidy everything up, mulch everything over, make sure it's overwinters well, and that'll be the next one, I would imagine, unless we have more great weather. We shall see. Well, thank you for coming along yet another journey. I'll see you all next time. Have a good one.